You are listening to the daily homily for Magdala in the Holy Land.
Each year, Jesus' parents went to Jerusalem for the feast of the Passover. And when he was 12 years old, they went up according to festival custom. After they had completed its days as they were returning, the boy Jesus remained behind in Jerusalem, but his parents did not know it. Thinking that he was in the caravan, they journeyed for a day and looked for him among their relatives and acquaintances, but not finding him, they returned to Jerusalem to look for him. After 3 days, they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, listening to them and asking them questions. And all who heard him were astounded at his understanding and his answers. When his parents saw him, they were astonished. And his mother said to him, "Son, why have you done this to us? Your father and I have been looking for you with great anxiety." And he said to them, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know that I must be in my father's house?" But they did not understand what he said to them. He went down with them and came to Nazareth and was obedient to them. And his mother kept all these things in her heart. And Jesus advanced in wisdom and age and favor before God and man. The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
We have this beautiful line in the beginning of the Psalm 84, and it says, "Blessed are they who dwell in your house, O Lord." It's actually verse 5 of the Psalm, that particular responsorial. And we have this next line, "How lovely is your dwelling place, O Lord of hosts." "Happy are they who dwell in your house" is another line. And then Jesus says, "Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" Imagine our families being a house of God, and we're dwelling in God's house. There's an amazingly beautiful reality here that's very difficult, and that is how Samuel's mother takes her 3-year-old and leaves him in the temple. And you know already from the readings and the beginning of the story of his mother, Hannah, my mother's name and my grandmother's name, in a different version, Anna, in the temple weeping, crying out, accused of being drunk. So offensive and aggressively offensive language. And now she has, 4 years later, this 3-year-old boy, leaving him in the temple in God's house. And understanding, because we're people of faith, those that are participating at Mass, maybe there are 1 or 2 new people, curious people, because it's on live stream and you're just looking there. But let's say that the regular participants at Mass are baptized, usually confirmed. They're trying to live, we're all trying to live a Christian life. So we know that our great calling is holiness. That means we belong to God. But we live in a world that's drawing us out all the time. We're so distracted with so many things, with so many fashions, with so many ambitions, with so many tensions and desires. And we might forget that God has a great calling on every little baby that's born. God has a great calling on your baby, on your grandchildren. And what we see here with both Mary and Joseph, and they have kind of a wake-up call, because 13 years earlier, they're into this whole process that there's this little baby coming, and he's very special, and he's from God. But every baby that comes is very special and from God. And in a way, God's family is God's house. Our family is, we are part of God's household. He is our Father. When Jesus says, "I have to be about my Father's business," that applies to everybody. Imagine Joseph realizing, yeah, I'm not his dad. Imagine Mary realizing, and all the trouble I had when Joseph found out I was pregnant. And life is real. There are tremendous tensions, insecurities, uncertainties. What's the next thing that's going to happen? The life of a family. We see the big problems that are in life in so many families. We don't really need to talk too much about this because everybody is aware of it. And yet in the middle of all that, let's call it mess, God is working a great plan. And sometimes the mess gets straightened out years into life. Maybe a child was already in prison, and that child is called to be a great saint. This is God's big project in everybody, this great calling, a calling of greatness. You know, there was another beautiful line there in the reading from John's letter today. It's fascinating, and it's good to cross-thread the different thoughts that come out in the different readings, and that we do not know that when it is revealed we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And that's an interesting thing, because we shall see him as he is, we will be like him, but we were made in his image and likeness. And we know that parents actually don't make a child, they beget a child. In the technical term, it says procreation. God creates, and the parents have a very special role in bringing a child to life. There are so many issues and so many ways our thoughts could go at this point, but there's a tremendous treasure entrusted to parents in each child. And there's a great gift entrusted to each child and their parents. Family is the first experience of learning to welcome God's goodness together. Maybe that's a good definition of kind of the daily task of family, to recognize and experience learning how to welcome God's goodness together as a family. Adam and Eve in paradise, it was God's goodness they experienced. Every little baby is born into the loving embrace and celebration together, and the whole family gets together. Babies just don't pop up like a message in your inbox. They receive, the whole family rejoices. Family is learning. It means we don't have all the skills to be a human being as a baby. We don't have any skills. But even the parents don't have the skills. There's no school telling parents how to be parents. So it's not just the child is learning, the parents are learning. And when we have that kind of a situation, we might be improving little by little, or we might be improving very slowly. But we're welcoming God's providence together, and we're putting up with a lot of mistakes. In every order. But then you learn from your mistakes. What's an expert when you did it a lot of times? So when the parents have their 10th or 15th child, and they're such families, then for them it's just another. It's just like they're already experts, or they have raised a couple of children, and their sister or their brother has a new family starting, and they start talking small talk about the little details of the family life. And any parents that have raised a child or two or three, they're experts. And yet they're always learning if they get another child, because each child is different, and maybe a Down syndrome's child comes, or with some other challenges. So this makes our school of learning to welcome goodness together more difficult, but it's also therefore a more powerful training gymnasium, a gym, a workout place, a place of great growth, a place where we can trust a lot. And God chose to be in a family as a little baby Jesus. And how important this was. How important it was that Samuel had parents that trained him the first 3 years, and then they handed him over, because it was God's will. Do you not know I need to be about my Father's business? The greatest legacy parents can give any child would be to put God's will first.
Thank you for joining us today. If you want to learn more about Magdala, follow us on YouTube and on Facebook.